As we move over to the Kraken here, we don't have any direct news for you, as the Kraken had a full week of practices over the past week, and their next game is tonight. So can't really get that to you. They play tonight in Colorado against the Avalanche, but we do have some key news about the team itself. In terms of injury-related news, Center Jaden Schwartz is out 4 to 6 weeks. The Kraken have lost 2 of their top 6 scorers in the past 2 weeks. He will at least miss a month after having hand surgery. Previously, his injury was designated as upper body. That's technically not wrong, but hockey injuries are so vague. It's like either you have an upper body injury or you have a lower body injury, and then they don't go into detail about anything else. Schwartz was second on the team in points and is tied for the team lead in assists. So obviously, you look at that value, that's going to be tough to lose for a while, especially on a team that's already kind of struggling and has struggled for a while to score points. So that's a big deal, but you hope with the long week of practices that they had, I know that in the press conferences after practice, head coach Dave Haxall was saying that we really need to have good, intense practices, ones that you wouldn't normally get mid-season, getting a week off effectively from games. So you just hope that everything that they're working on, everything that they were doing, someone who's there, you hope all that stuff is actually we're going to see that result in games, because everybody wants to put the expectations on this team, but it's so hard to do that when it's an expansion team. Guys are getting to know each other. You're dealing with a pandemic still, and then injuries always come into factor as well. So I don't really have anything else for you outside of that. We look into the upcoming schedule for the Kraken tonight, playing the Avalanche. The only interesting thing I'll note about the Avalanche is that Philip Grubauer, who played with the Avalanche previously, has been wearing his Avalanche pads. So I don't know, maybe that's a superstition thing. Maybe it switches up his luck. We'll see. January 12th, the team will travel to Dallas to play the Stars with a 5:30 p.m. puck drop. That is the first time they will play Dallas. January 13th, the next day, at St. Louis against the Blues with a 5 p.m. puck drop. And then coming back home on the 15th to play the LA Kings with a 7 p.m. puck drop. So a 3-game road trip after being home for what feels like a month. The team will look to really get back on track after a long week of practice, and hoping that somebody will be able to step up in Jaden Schwartz's absence. So no rain news. They've been relatively quiet as we prepare for preseason next month. But outside of that, it's kind of an interesting week. I mean, Seahawks take care of the Cardinals. Season ends. We'll have a season recap next week. Mariners still in the MLB lockout. Sounders reportedly signed Albert Rusnak to a deal through 2023 with an option for 2024. Not officially confirmed yet. The Storm gets Sue Bird back for next season and are looking at some important free agency dates upcoming this month. And then the Kraken get an off week effectively with practices and look for their next few games on the road. How are you looking at things? Obviously, it's going to be a little bit weird now with the Kraken being the only team playing during the year, but I'd have to think we have some positive outlooks. The Mariners have some positive outlook after overperforming expectations last season, signing, the AL Cy Young and Robbie Ray. The Seahawks, I would say they've got somewhat of a decent future. They've got a good amount of cap space. It looks like Russell Wilson, Pete Carroll will be back. It just looks like you just have to really address some things. The Storm, until we look at free agents, I can't tell you, because you've only got 3 to 4 players on the roster. The Sounders have made the playoffs every year since inception and looking to add an all-star to their roster, which is going to be a big deal because Sounders are a juggernaut every year, and the Kraken kind of dealing with things. So how did first episode go for you?
I'm remaining optimistic. I know that we've talked about a lot of injuries today, and I just hope that our teams can make the moves needed so that they're contenders again. And I don't think that we have to worry much about the Seattle Storm. I think we take them for granted a little bit, but hoping for the big 3 to come back for sure.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason I love having all these teams on here is because I think we mentioned it. Storm have won 4 titles. It's the most of any team in this city, and the most among the major sports combined. Seahawks 1 title, the Sounders 2 MLS Cups. So there's 3. Storm have 4. So with that being said, this has been your week in sports, circling Seattle sports on Converge. Charles, along with Bell here. Might see Bell next week. We'll have to see about that.
Hope so.
But until then, hopefully we get some more stuff for you as it kind of felt a little bit dry today. Felt like like you said,
slow.
a lot of injuries. So hoping for a turn of the tide next week. As always, thank your directors. Salman, as always, doing his thing behind the camera, getting everything set up, making us look pretty. Until we see you next week, thankfully all that ice and snow is gone. Be safe out there. Be well. We're back to our Seattle. Oh, I almost said Seattle storm. We're back to our Seattle weather, our Seattle rain. Until then, take care. Be well. See you next week.